I'm going to show you guys step by step on how to properly install a turbo kit, how all of these parts work, and the results at the end. First thing is to remove the stock intake system. There is only a couple clamps and a few bolts holding this thing on. Then remove the exhaust heat shield to give access to the exhaust manifold. Now because my Miata didn't come with a turbo from the factory, I did have to cut a small piece of metal to make some space for the compressor housing of the turbo. After torquing down the exhaust studs on the manifold, I was able to bolt down the turbo. Next was to bolt on the first section of the exhaust on the hot side of the turbo. Then the turbo was ready to install, which took a few helping hands. The compressed air from the cold side of the turbo runs down this side into the intercooler. The air charge is then cooled, then directed back into the engine. On the intercooler pipe going back to the throttle body will be our bypass valve. The job of this guy is to direct any unused compressed air back into the intake once the throttle plate is closed. Lastly is the intake, or in this case, the turbo inlet. This will simply clamp to the front of our turbo's compressor housing, while this line will run to the valve cover, and this is for the direct line running to our bypass valve, while our filter will sit out front with a MAF sensor in between. To finish things up, I installed my upgraded radiator and wired up my new fans. Installed new spark plugs and set the gap to 28 thousandths. Put fresh oil in the car and then began filling the cooling system. You need to disable the car from starting, so I did so by pulling this relay. Now crank the car over into multiple 5 to 8 second cycles with a small break in between. After a few cycles, you will see the oil pressure begin to rise. Crank a few more times after that to ensure proper oiling to your turbo. Now it's time to start the car and bleed the cooling system. Now all that's left is to take this thing for a drive.